special meeting of the Gilbert School Corporation for Wednesday, February 11th. Roll call, Jonathan?
Jonathan Moore.
Tara Sunday.
Scott Beecher.
Eileen Cook.
Mike Susan.
Holly Cassidy?
Ellen Marino.
Kurt Warner.
Shane Centrella. Frank Oliveri.
Lauren Dombrowski.
Thank you. We will have Ellen lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Gilbert School is committed to ensuring that all of our students are prepared to be thoughtful and productive citizens in a complex global society. In pursuing this mission, we believe that all students can learn and be successful. All students are valued and deserve an education that addresses their academic, physical, and social, emotional needs. All students are entitled to a safe, healthy, and respectful learning environment. All the Gilbert School community members must uphold high expectations, be accountable, and demonstrate a commitment to excellence, and celebrate the heritage of the Gilbert School, strengthens community pride, and inspires individual accomplishments.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, discussion and review of the Gilbert School Corporation proposed 26-27 budget. Turn over to you.
Good evening, everyone. We are here tonight to review the budget book. Any questions? Again, just to set the stage, we are requesting $10,471,670 as our proposed budget, which is an 8.65% increase, of a total of $833,420 total increase. Just to set the stage, we talked about the main drivers, salaries and benefits are the two big ones. If you total the salaries and benefits, the net salaries, meaning that what it costs us after the teachers pay their 17%, that's just under $500,000, and our salaries are just under $400,000. So those two items alone are almost $900,000 of an increase. We're asking for $833. So big picture, big ideas. How we got there, the short answer is we took out $250,000 out of our reserve account, and we have increased revenue from the international program. So if you're looking at the 10,000 foot level, that's our budget in a nutshell. Everyone has the details. I did receive some questions that I'll go through those answers. If anyone has questions after that, I'm happy to respond. Okay? So let me run through some questions that I received. The first was a question about the enrollment. So if you turn to page 12 in your book, you'll see the enrollment that looks like this. Enrollment over time. So this is something that actually as a board we can discuss.
Are there any extra copies by chance?
Yes. Of the budget book or the
book.
When's the
I can get Heather's to use.
okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Frank.
So for now, I'll just give you a copy once we follow along.
Thank you.
So this page we'll have to amend, but how we amend it is really a discussion point. So me being new in discussions on enrollment, I looked at the Winchester Board of Ed's packet that has the K-12 enrollment. I took 6th grade on and just moved them forward, so that's 7 through 12, which are the numbers that you see that equate to 420, and then added our 20 students that the trust has committed to for next year, which gives us the 440. That's how we got to the 440 number. Those are the hard numbers from the enrollment documents. Now, the next, the question on the table is, the Winchester number is, I'm talking with Dr. Luby, 400. And how they came to that number is they apply a formula, and I'll pass these out. You'll see the percentages underneath the grades. This is a formula that Winchester applied to the enrollment numbers and committed to 400 students.
What's the formula? I don't understand that. I mean,
So it's
no, but what is the formula? You count
how they
students.
came up,
So
so
like, how do you, we have hard data, so what is the purpose of the formula?
so that's the mix up here. One, we're using exact numbers,
Right.
which is the 420.
Simple.
The formula is how many students actually matriculate the next year. So there's usually, middle to high school, there's usually choice, where students will choose to go to a tech school, to St. Paul, like different options. So although we'll take ninth grade, so it was 89%. So the kids that were in, that transitioned to ninth grade, not all of them are coming to us directly up from the middle school or from 6 to 7. So they looked at trends over time and said, okay, well, usually 89% of that class
Speculation.
comes up. It is speculation, and I will say that Dr. Luby and I have spoken about this. I don't disagree with that. We can arm wrestle for, you know, the 1 or 2 students we're talking about. Like, you know, if I look at these numbers, the bottom numbers, when you're talking about 75.24%, or not percent, 75.24 people, 2/4 of a person is a person.
Yeah, you can tell it's mathematical, but what's the purpose of it? Just to,
Less people that they're paying for.
but it's just to manipulate the pupil per pupil cost. There's no other reason, right?
Yeah, because the,
I mean, what other reason would there be?
No, I think it's, in all honesty, I think it's because they want to accurately pay for the amount of students that are coming here. And I don't disagree with that. I don't. It's just, it's the little things that,
But it's the nature of schools, where that's why they pick a certain date. Every school in the state goes by a date because there's fluctuations in and out. That's just the
That-
nature of students.
that is correct.
And
I will
that's how
tell
you do
you,
budgets. I mean, I understand that part, I just don't understand this part. I think this is weird.
I will tell you that my experience with Woodstock is that the student enrollment was always, I don't want to say a guessing game, but there was fluctuation. And the way they did it was October 1st was whoever was in your school at that time, that's the number used.
Right.
Kids moved in, moved out.
And you can adjust
October
it
2nd,
probably.
kids could move in, and then Woodstock Academy would educate them all year for free. Kids would come in right before October 1st, and then the towns would have to pay for it. So it was a give and take. This is not an exact science. So I understand the philosophy behind it, and I don't necessarily disagree with it.
But it confuses the public. It confuses the public when you're looking at, okay, you're saying you have 400 students, but Gilbert's saying that's 420 students. It's not a hard concept to count students, you know what I mean? This confuses, this just shows the districts not communicating. That's what it looks like from a public, to me, from a public point of view. I've never even heard of this formula. I've been on the board for a long time. Never knew they did this, so I don't know when did you guys implement this, do you know? Do you have any idea? Like, do you guys know anything about it or no? I mean, you're on the board, so I'm just wondering, does this even come up in discussion?
So, I've never seen this formula, it wasn't done in previous years, but I think the first question would be, how do we get to, so this is projected, right?
Yes.
26, 27 was projection.
Yep.
So I think they're going based on a projection based on what had been seen, right?
Yes, that's the formula.
Yeah, exactly. So, I can't speak to the formula because I didn't create it. so that would
No,
be-
I didn't know if you knew about it.
I think the important
First-
part is though, you took your total budget and what you have in our books right now is the 400. It's just this page that has a different enrollment number.
Correct, because
That's bottom line.
it's how we, and that's the question on the table, how we want to represent it. Do we want to articulate exactly the amount of students we're moving forward, or do you want to articulate potential projections? I mean, for clarity purposes, we should all be on the same page, we all should
Right.
know what we're talking about. I'm okay either way, I am. And again, I don't necessarily disagree with the
Formula.
formula. My rub, I guess, is that when it's part of a person and it's rounded down.
Oh,
Yeah, so you don't take part of it.
So there's 3 round downs, which are really 3 kids, that really aren't represented. But, okay, I'm not gonna,
No, but the reality of it
fight
is,
with 3 kids, like,
if we're talking 20 kids, it's not gonna really change your programming. You know what I mean, when you're doing the budget, you're doing it on the program, and when you have 400 kids, or whether you have 420 kids, it's not like you're gonna drop programs because of 20 kids.
Right.
Because they're split over a whole
And
series
I-
of programs, I mean.
and
so
Dr.
this is
Luby and I
just-
talked about this.
This
So,
is just to manipulate the per pupil cost, and which is, to me, is not the big story, you know? I don't think it is.
I don't know. I don't know in this particular case, that's the scenario.
Yeah,
In this particular case, looking at it from a purely enrollment perspective, again, there's 2 ways to look at this. Projections or what the numbers are.
So
I'm
I
okay
think the
either
number
way.
you have based your budget on
Was
at the bottom
projection.
line is the projection, and that's what we should show here. That's my personal opinion, and I would make
And
that
that's what Dr.
recommendation.
Luby and I talked about. So, but if no one knows the difference here, we should have that conversation, and people should agree on, do we do it by projection, or do we do it by the actual number?
So it says projected enrollment, not to split hairs. Right, so.
It does, yeah.
So wouldn't Gilbert, as a general rule, have the insight to the 9th and 10th graders, because they're already in our school? So we would know if they're gonna go to a trade school or whatever, and that would be reflected in our enrollment. We would take that into consideration. We know if Johnny's gonna go to Boca Tech and Sarah's gonna go to St. Paul, well, they're not gonna be part of our enrollment, and we would know that 9th and 10th.
We have an idea. So we get notified by some of the schools saying, these students were accepted. So if we get a letter from tech schools saying these 3 students were accepted, there's a high probability that those 3 students will be going to tech in 9th grade. There are others that have stated they're going to go to regional, but then they don't go.
It's a moving target.
It's a moving target. This isn't an exact science. This isn't a criticism of anyone. This is, how do you want this information to be presented?
Well, I agree with Ellen, because I know how it's portrayed, and I know what the town looks at, and the townspeople, when we go to the budget, are gonna say, well, no, there's nothing gonna be any prejudicial against anybody. Winsted's gonna say Winsted's per pupil cost is this, Gilbert's gonna be this, why is Gilbert higher? 20 kids, you take 20 and divide it by the number, it's gonna lower,
it skews it when the
it's
numbers
gonna
are
raise
small.
your,
It's
and that's,
definitely
I get where Ellen's going with that.
Yeah, I understand.
I just use your real numbers.
Well, I think
Use
this,
real
go
enrollment.
ahead.
So, real quick, just looking at it, and again, this is projections, right? But when we look at, so my question would be the
Previous
first, yeah, previous year. So when you look at 8th to 9th, because there's always gonna be a choice, right? There's always a choice, so that's, but if we look, and all you have to do is go on a diagonal pattern it gives you. So if we go to 2022, 23, 8th grade was 75, 9th grade was 67. So that's the same class ultimately, but it's 8 students less. Then you go 8th grade to, you only dropped off 3 there, so that's 72 to 69. And then you go 24 to 25, there was a big drop off, there was 11. And so my guess, again, because I don't know the projection or how she goes about it, but the projection is now up for 84 to 88, and that would have been based on trends, that would have been the first year that there was an uptick from 8th to
And we're
9th.
gonna lose
10
kids.
through 11, they jumped up 23 kids. I mean, it's gonna be up and down all along. That's why
Yeah, but-
schools usually
No,
pick.
but I
Eighth or
understand,
ninth, there seems to be
But
a
I'm saying,
pattern.
but I'm saying just follow the projections. So, again, just looking at it from an outside perspective, because I didn't sit with Dr. Luby to kind of look at that. But if you look at trends and projections, it has to be based off previous year data. So unless you have something that's going to matriculate, or there's trends that show that it's going to flip, right? It's like financial forecasts. It's the same thing as insurance forecasts. You're going to look at what has taken place previously. So that would be a positive projection, which is great. I love positive projections because I think that's where we should be.
Yeah.
But again, when you look at trends and projections, that would show that that should go down based on previous, right? So like that's making, so again, percentage-wise, if you look at 75, what's 10% of 75? 7.5 kids, which again, you can't do halves because there are no such thing as half kids. But you'd be looking at 7 students down basically. So that's almost a 10% drop off from 8th to 9th, 2022 to 23. So I would assume, again, and I don't want to assume, but I think that's where the projections
There
are
was a
based off.
historical, before the 7th and 8th grade were here, there was a historical drop off because there was a lot of push
Sure.
to send kids anywhere, push to region, mostly to Region 7 or to like Torrington or wherever they could, or Tech. It was like a huge push to push to.
For sure.
And then when they started retaining more kids because they were here, those numbers started to change.
Sure, so I think to like one of the things I saw which made me go, what is this? Was the ag program or the VOAG program at Regional 7. We look in, there's like 30 to 35 students I think enrolled.
30 regular, 5.
Okay, so 35, right, that are currently there. So we look at those students have matriculated or decided to go there or enrolled in that program. I don't remember what the others, because I don't have
That's
my
correct.
budget book.
Correct. So
What was it, like 14?
13 or 14.
Okay, so there's like 45 students, so that makes up a lot of the transitional change. So again, projections are projections, but I think where she was, again, Dr. Luby was probably, and you would have it better because you've met with her, but that's where I think the projections are probably saying it's not going to be an uptick of students for projected year. And again, I see also international, trying to get more international students, which is great, but that's where I would assume that the difference
That's why I
in
think she has us
numbers-
going from 84 to 78.32, because we're only a third of the kid, but,
For sure.
yeah, instead of going up to 80.
And you can't have those partial students like you're saying, so that makes sense, but
And
it
you wouldn't
would
run
be
them down
closer.
either, because that's
Agreed,
political.
agreed,
That's
agreed.
just political.
But again,
This is something superintendent should be working out though. I mean, this is,
We are.
I mean,
It's a
that's
fair
what, and I don't mean
question.
that in you,
Yeah.
but
It's a fair question.
it's really something that, is this a board level thing, like how you?
My
He's
question
just
to the
trying-
board
yeah.
is,
Yeah.
how do you want this presented?
Clarification.
I'm not debating the formula necessarily or the numbers. I'm asking you, how do you want this presented?
I think looking at past trends, you could create your own formula like this and see this is my best guess.
Okay, so I'm clear. When Dr. Luby and I sit down and we talk about the formula, whatever that is, and then the number we agree on, you want this sheet to show those numbers?
The agreed on number.
The agreed on numbers, okay.
And I
That's
think
right.
from working with previous heads of school, that's how it was done. There was more communication. I don't think that communication happened this year. So that's why there's the difference in this, but
You gotta see the
It did,
formula.
it did, the communication did happen. It's just reporting out. There was a disconnect there as far as, I didn't know what you wanted.
okay,
You
so I
guys-
think since, I'll revert back to, since the budget number, taking our budget divided by the total number of students has the 400 number, I think that this.
I think, so, correct me, because there's nothing in here that shows the cost per pupil, I don't think. I thought I remembered a number, and then I couldn't find it.
Because we discussed it in a meeting, I think. But
What's that?
I think we discussed it in a meeting, like recently.
Okay.
That's maybe why.
No, it's in there.
I thought I saw it
It is in
somewhere, but
there.
at some point, I know I saw a number, and I just didn't. I couldn't
You
find
may
it.
have mentioned it at the presentation.
No, it wasn't just
as
something-
well.
It could have been in the
Yeah.
presentation. It might have been in the presentation.
I think I have it.
It was 20, I thought it was 25.
So
24 to
if you
26.
if you do 24, that's based off of 400
Oh.
kids.
Correct,
So, but if you base it off the 420, it's like 23 and change.
correct,
So you based it off 400 kids.
correct.
And
Okay.
that's why I think it should be reflected, because that's.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
I
That
agree.
would be more accurate, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
So there's a financial part to this, which we're on the same page, it's 400. And there's a presentation part
Mhm.
to this. It's the presentation part is my question. How do you want to present it? If you want to present it to line up with the financials and the formula and what's agreed upon, no problem. If you want raw numbers year to year, then that's what it's presented. It sounds like everyone wants the formula
They match.
to match.
You could do both. You're showing real numbers and you're showing the trend.
Try not to confuse people.
But it's true.
There's already a lot of numbers
There's always,
floating around.
I know, but I mean, that's what, it's not hard to do.
I
I think
always
you
like
agreed
real
upon.
numbers. so-
I like real numbers too, but I like trends. I mean, that's what I like both, but you already,
Okay, maybe I'll take a look at it. For now, I will give you another sheet like this with the projected numbers. So next time you'll get another sheet for your book to replace this one. Okay? Okay.
Question one, done.
Question one.
Jeez.
All right.
How many do you have?
Only 20 minutes.
35.
He's joking.
I don't like Bills.
Let's see. There's a question about enrollment counts, and the fluctuation during the course of the year, and when we do the enrollment counts. So, again, it goes back to this conversation as far as
we used to have.
moving students forward year to year, what that number looks like. And there are fluctuations, but we try to establish that number in October, November, because we both have to build our budgets off of that number. So usually October 1st is universal for the state. That's the day where the state uses enrollment numbers. But throughout the year, there is fluctuation. We are a very transient community. I think in September, we had 35 students move in that we didn't expect. Quite a few from Torrington area. So we also had kids leave, so it's a transient population. So we locked down that number as far as the town is concerned, and then also we do the same thing with the trust. We, in the late fall, have a meeting, discuss what we think that number's going to be. Then Tim Cronin has a meeting with the trust, and then the trust votes on approving that number. They approve the 20. Once those numbers are locked in, those are the numbers we use for budget. So, take the trust for example. The trust is paying for 20 students next year. If they get 3 students, they are still paying for 20 students.
Done it
Now,
many years.
on the flip side, if they bring in 23 students, they still are paying 20 students.
It works both ways. I mean,
Again, enrollment is something that is always in flux.
It works in the same with the town too. If they come in,
Yeah.
it works both ways.
Yep, yep.
I would assume on the international side, it's easier to determine.
Yeah, there's usually a break, like, you don't get a lot of students in
Small numbers.
October, November.
Yeah, but
For
if
the
they're
best.
coming from a long distance, they're not gonna.
Some come half year.
Some come half in, some
Yeah.
don't show up. They pay.
And some leave half year. So
They
there's
decide they're going to California.
some schools where they'll come for an experience, and they'll do 1 semester and leave. So we try to, when they leave, we try to get someone to come in and backfill it.
So it's
Sometimes it works,
semi-tricky.
sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
Some
Um,
that comes with education and the experience.
Ron, we talked about that.
America.
So the trust and the town are treated the same. So the trust is like another sending town. We establish the number, they pay that, they're on the hook for that number next year. They are also, same with the town, they are billed monthly, just like the town is. And hopefully we get paid every month, just like we hope the town pays us every month. Let's see. Under building repairs, page 31. Question was about, there's 250 to 60.
The building, yeah, 457 or 4.
So the 250 was a gym project, and then we no longer have that project, so that money goes away. The 60 that we have there is for, and I know the answer to this, roof to the shed out back, and we have a underground oil tank that we didn't know we had in the parking lot over by the cafeteria that really shouldn't be there.
Let's hope it doesn't
So-
have leaking oil.
Yeah.
Before
Before you
the
sue,
DEP shows up,
and sues you.
we're gonna get that out of there. So that 60,000 is going to those two projects.
Hopefully the
Where's the
excavator
underground
doesn't
oil
perforate
tank? Where?
the
I'm
tank.
so sorry.
You know where the dumpsters are?
Oh, yeah,
For
the
the-
lower,
that
the
little
maintenance
slope?
lot? Or, I
Uh,
always
the-
thought it was maintenance lot.
Dietary.
When you come up the driveway,
Totally know
To
where
the
it is,
right,
yeah, yeah,
right there.
thank you so much.
It's been a long time.
But the insurance
You think-
doesn't know that too.
You think that?
next question is, will be eligible for the school mental health specialist fund or the REAP grant? Yes, if money is available, that's highly unlikely. That was really COVID era money, so I doubt we would be eligible if it comes available, but I don't think it's going to come available anymore. A lot of that money is gone, and we need to start looking for other options. Next question is, page 53, the 73,399. Does that reflect a new maintenance person?
Page
53. It reflects two things. It reflects the wage increases for our folks that are here now and the new position. Page 73, recording secretary and refreshments. We do have refreshments for special events, but not our monthly meetings. Sorry about that, Scott. It's part of our healthy initiative. And then we have a recording secretary at the board level. The board agreed, I guess a while back, that that would be a flat rate per meeting. Page 75, question about the solar roof loan. So that's a 20-year loan, and that's a flat loan, so the same payments over time. There is 1 year where there's a bump, I think it's the third year, but that bump is offset by a tax credit that we are getting. So we'll get the tax credit and basically apply it to that one bump year.
When do we start seeing cash positive on that, when we're buying it back?
12 to 13 years.
Okay.
Page 79 are all clubs and publications currently running. Most, if not almost all, are running. There are a few that aren't. However, we're required to fund all of them. If they're in our teacher's contract, we must be able to fund them. Now, as the year goes on and people don't fill those spots, we can use those funds to transition to other areas where students might be engaged in and we need more support. So I'll give you an example of that. We do not have freshman boys and girls basketball this year. However, in the fall, we had a large group of middle school soccer players, much more than our coaching staff could handle. So we transitioned that money over to help support with an extra assistant. So that money moves with kids, basically. And the last question, which is has multi-parts to it. This really, the crux of this is class sizes. But it asks about teacher-to-student ratios, course matrix looking across departments, and number of courses teachers teach, and class sizes. So at the high school level, this is a complicated question. So
This is a VP.
let's first take, let's first talk about what a high school schedule looks like. So middle school is pretty straightforward. Very similar to elementary, grade level, kids stay in that grade level. They do take more electives, so there's more offerings there. But it's pretty much you have one team that takes on those kids. That's from 7th to 8th grade. 9th grade through 12th grade, now it starts to get a little convoluted. The way we schedule the high school, we use Power School as our scheduler. So kids fill out their requests. The requests get dumped into the software, and the software spits out the best fit by student choice. So, and then we populate the classes by student choice. That's how it happens. Now there are a couple scenarios that create some issues. Single classes, like an AP chemistry class that only is offered once, that's locked in. So any kid that wants an AP class, they try and get that scheduled first, which then kind of creates a little bit of turmoil for the rest of the schedule, which creates some imbalances. So you'll have some classes that are low enrolled, you have some classes that are higher enrolled. So when it's not as easy as, okay, I have a 3rd grade class of 100 kids, I have 5 teachers with 20 kids in each class, maybe I can go down to 4 and have 25 kids, like real simple math. It is not like that at all with all the moving parts. The other piece that we'll talk about is we have when the kids sign up for the classes and the classes start, within the first 3 weeks, kids can drop the class, they can add the class, so then that changes the numbers as well. Throw in the fact that we're transient, that's another variable to take into consideration. The other piece is we're trying to be a comprehensive high school. So in order to do that, we have our set graduation requirements that we're required to do. So everyone has to take a certain amount of classes. So we have to have programs that support those classes. I'll give you an example. If we are trying to prepare students for life after high school, and we want to have a college prep track, global languages are something that we need to have. You need to have 3 to 4 levels of that, which means that you have to have a track. You have to have 1, so 2, to get to 3. So there are some factors in structuring the schedule that we have to take into consideration. And then things like, okay, I know a couple of years ago we got jammed up because we didn't have physics. And I don't know if you've heard this or not, but I heard this today, that during that time our valedictorian and salutatorian, I guess, plan to go to UConn. UConn has a program, number 1, number 2, can go for free. However, our kids wanted to go into engineering. They weren't accepted because they didn't have physics. So to be a comprehensive high school, there's just certain things you have to have in your schedule.
I was pushing for that, because my son, when he graduated here, couldn't take it, because Gilbert died, we didn't have it. He wanted to go to RPI, he couldn't get into RPI, computer science, without it. He went in a backdoor way because his sister was there. That's how he got in through humanities, and it took him 2 years to get converted into his computer science, which he's graduating a year early. I mean,
He's fortunate because
he's lucky because he had a pathway who had a high-performing sister who got him in the back door, and it's because he didn't have physics. That's why I was one of those ones, Howie members, pushing for physics.
Pushed for years, I know.
Yes, because you can't compete anywhere without physics. And I'm not physics, I don't like math, science at all. That's why I went to law school, but
So the point of that is that there are things that you have to have in your schedule.
agreed.
The other piece to consider as we look at our schedule is there are restrictions on some classes, that you can't go above certain numbers. So for example, in the wood shop, you cannot have 20 to 25 students in a wood shop with one teacher working with machinery. That's just, OSHA will allow that.
Oh, guys.
Science labs, you only have so many lab stations that you can work at. The computer tech classes, we only have so many stations with computers out there. You can't have two people sharing a computer for a computer class. So there are a lot of different variables that go into a high school schedule. Now, that being said, I went through with Patrick Brinkle, our school counseling department chair, and we went through all of our courses to get a sense of, okay, how can we put a number to this? Because we have ranges from some classes that are 74, like a band class, to a support class that has single-digit students in it. So what we did is we took the support classes to the side because some of those classes we are mandated to have. We're mandated to have those. So we looked at our core classes and our electives. And we looked at all the sections, every section that we offer during the year, which is about 300-ish sections. And then we took every section's enrollment, figured out how many kids are enrolled, and then if we take every section that we offer and every student that took a section and looked at what's that average. Again, this is holistic, but the average is a little over 15 students per class if we're looking holistic. Now, can I point to classes that are a little lower than that? Absolutely. Can I point to classes that are above that? Yes. It is very, very challenging to look at class sizes compared to an elementary school to a high school for all those reasons that I just stated. And I gotta be honest with you, when I sat down with Patrick to do this little exercise, it took us almost 2 hours because even the two of us were getting caught up in our trying to figure out how to present this accurately. Because we have year-long classes, we have semester-long classes, we have quarter classes within those semester classes. So it's hard to equate one-to-one, if that makes sense. So,
That would make more sense to compare to like Hoosie or somebody, or like another school that's small, that's a high school, although they're not middle school, or some, like another place that has similar type of enrollment that's at the secondary school level. I mean, that would make more sense to compare those two together than with elementary.
yeah, so
I
the
mean, I
middle
would compare, like,
school,
New Hartford or Winsted, but.
the middle school were 15 to 18 kids,
Yeah.
average class. That's fairly easy. And to answer the question about how many classes teachers teach, by contract, their contract says 5 classes. Now, that could be, if I teach electives and I teach semester courses, that could be 10 classes. If I'm splitting a semester up, it could be more than that. So as long as it works out to 5 classes by contract, we are in good standing.
And they have a prep period as well, right?
They have a prep period as well.
So if you're a department head, you're not required to do 5 classes still, are you?
Correct, because you are, by contract, you are supervising that class.
So how many classes are they required to
4.
teach?
4.
4. So they just lose 1 class.
Yeah.
Do you have some department heads that do 5 or not? Pretty
No,
much.
but I do have some teachers that are teaching above their 5. So in the contract, it says that, so science has been a challenge for us this year. Every year, it seems. Couldn't find a science teacher, so we solicited our own teachers to pick up an extra class. To do that, we have to pay them, compensate them for their time to do that. So contractually, it's 5. They can go over we have to pay them for it, but 5 is the number.
I
The other,
think it's important to note too that so the 8th graders get more like exploratory, like that they would normally get in high school, but we're able to give that, like lab. As a
Yes.
grade, right?
yeah, and that's
Get it in 7th grade.
And then the other piece too is, so I talked about when you get to 9th grade, it starts to get convoluted. 9th grade even gets convoluted with 8th graders, math and languages. So some 8th graders will take 9th grade classes because they're advanced and they're on that track. So that gets a little mixed as well.
Did I hear that we have one, I guess you could call it a co-taught class, that a regular ed mixed in with a honors class being taught?
Potentially. I could tell you that I know, I don't know every class off the top of my head, but I know that usually in global language, sometimes they'll put 2 or 3 levels in one class if the numbers are small. So they might have a French 5 and a French 1 together. But the French 5 will help teach the French 1 as the teacher's trying to enrich the French 5 students. Not saying that's exactly what's happening here, but that's been my experience. Because when you get to that level, if it's an AP French class, and you have 4 students that want to take AP French, and they've taken French 4 or 3 years at the high school, you don't want to just drop them. So you have to figure out how to incorporate them into the other areas. You get creative. So yeah, there might be some scenarios like that.
Do you run into situations where you have to have like current staff go over the 5?
Yeah, but science have 2 now.
So, I mean, the downside of that is like you pay like extra money, but the upside is you're not paying other bodies benefits either, right? So, I mean, not that you want to overwork people, but.
Yes, but you're burning
but it
people
depends.
out.
Yeah.
That's, I understand that, yeah. It just depends on,
And science, for
and then they
example.
either go somewhere else.
Sure.
Yeah, science is very labor intensive as far as prepping and labs, and it's just,
Which are antiquated.
not to say English and history are easier, they're not, but they're a little more standardized. It's just a lot for a teacher. It's not sustainable. It's a Band-Aid at best. The other question I had given to me was about nursing. We have 2 nurses, and what does that look like as far as how many students they're seeing? I'm paraphrasing, in essence, do we need 2 nurses? I will tell you that we absolutely need 2 nurses. Matter of fact, Dr. Luby and I have had conversations where she's asked us if, when they get jammed up, can they borrow our nurse? Because, I mean,
I remember
especially
this conversation.
the flu time, I mean,
Last year.
you need coverage. And what if somebody's sick? The nurses can get sick too. So you have to have someone covering the office. So just to give you some numbers, in an average day, they see 56 kids, 56 unduplicated students, or 81 visits in one day. In a week, that could be 126 unique students and 340 visits in a week.
Now I'm worried about like our student population.
I think that should be a culture change.
Actually, this is the one that really got me. In a month, 231 unduplicated students. Okay, that's our entire high school. And then a total of 1,464 total visits in 1 month.
Wait, what? I
Some
think
of
you
those
said
are gonna be
231 unduplicated and how many?
Unique students.
Right,
And then 1,464 total visits in a month.
so that's a lot of sick kids.
Yes. So you figure,
I never went to the nurses
That's-
when I was in high school.
that's 20 days you're talking about. because it's Monday through Friday.
But
That's
then
a lot of visits.
And then put that in with the social workers and all that, and how many little
Yeah,
things.
A
yeah,
lot of them.
It's amazing when you go to school.
yeah.
So 231
Some
unduplicated,
mental health issues. Some go to
kids.
social worker, some go to.
and a total of 1,461 visits, so that's like,
1464.
oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, that's,
That's 5
all those
visits
kids
per
come in 7 or whatever, yeah, 6 times? Like a month, that's like, yeah. Well,
Now,
no, I'm just pointing
now
out, that's like
granted, just-
crazy, yeah.
It could be, you know, flu season, kids coming back from cough drops, or, I mean, there's, I don't wanna over
Yeah, I shouldn't.
dramatize this, but I don't think I have to.
No.
Some
I
of
think the
them have
numbers
to take
speak
their
for
meds
themselves.
there too. If they're on medication, they sometimes, they have to take their medication supervised, a lot of it's
Oh,
that.
so you mean that.
So they have to go and get the
Okay.
meds and then leave.
That makes sense too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still a lot.
The visits, still
The
visits.
numbers are staggering, but
Yeah,
but
we
I
have-
know,
I think it justifies
More than
tutors.
half the student body.
Yeah.
but there's a lot of kids on meds that do.
So that was all the questions you got?
That was all the questions I had.
But
Oh, I
that
think it's 35.
speaks to a bigger-
Oh,
I thought you were
sorry.
serious.
Sorry, I was joking.
Ready,
I
like,
was joking.
I thought he was messing with you.
I was just paraphrasing.
So I guess I would open up to discussion or,
I actually do have a question concerning grants. We are receiving some grants, correct?
Yeah,
they're on the-
None of it is showing in our budget.
Because we haven't budgeted any expenses for grants.
So state grants, particularly the ones that we apply for, we'll take the school improvement grant, which is 112,000.
Okay.
We submit that to the state, we apply for that. They approve that. They don't give us the 112,000.
Right.
We spend and then submit receipts, and then they offset those expenses. So we don't get $112,000.
Understood.
We have access to it that we can draw down on once we spend that money.
What about the Title II, 3, and 4?
Same thing, Title II, we get that, but we don't, we have to draw down on it.
Yeah, we don't hold that, you guys actually hold that. We have to ask you for it.
And I don't find out about how much we have until September.
So do we have any grants that aren't reimbursable grants that are like upfront, you know, you get the check and then you're, like I know generally like capital, you have to show receipts and then you get refunded. Like
Most state
like that.
grants that we work with are drawdown.
Gotcha. Oh, it's interesting.
The trust provides us grants. So like we're doing the small gym over. In essence, that's a grant. We don't have the cash for that, they do. And then we either submit bills to them or they pay them directly.
I just saw because we have 0 appropriated for grants, but in previous years, there were.
We knew
You
in
knew
previous
exactly
years that
what
we
it
were
was.
getting the grants, so we included the expenses.
like the COVID,
COVID,
like these ones that are listed here that ran out, right? Okay.
So the COVID grants were I don't want to say fast and loose, but they certainly were throwing money at a lot of things. And I think they learned over time, instead of giving the money out first, that it evolved to the point where we had to submit and then get reimbursed.
There are no expenses in this budget that will be paid for by grants. There's a lot of Title II that we could use for professional development. We don't have those professional development expenses in this budget.
Anyone else?
Can I speak one more comment?
Sure.
If I could. So, first, let me just say thank you for all your time. I know that working on boards is not easy, and it's definitely a time commitment. And I applaud you guys for doing double duty. That's a lot of time and stress. That being said, we are a town academy, and I'm new to the community, but I come from a town academy, and I know what a town academy can be, and we are going to try to get to that point in concert with the trust. But we are a unique school. We are a service provider for the town as well as the trust, and hopefully we can improve our product, we can bring in other towns to defer the costs for everyone. But we are an independent school. So the budget that is presented before you is for what we need to run our school. And I feel that the numbers that we're presenting, again, we talked about in the beginning with our insurance and our salaries, and the fact that we are presenting an increase less than those fixed costs, I think is a pretty lean budget. I'm very cognizant of the fact that we only have one sending town right now. I am sensitive to that. But I also have to look out what's best for the Gilbert School, because I'm the head of the Gilbert School. And there's no fluff in this budget. It's lean because we should be good partners with the trust and with Winchester. But we presented what we need to try and move the school forward academically and from the physical plan perspective. So I would ask for your support in the $10,471,670.
Okay. Next item on the budget is if anyone feels ready to make a motion to approve the budget, or we can table that for further discussion.
Is that a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the budget as presented.
I'll second.
I think we usually put the dollar amount in. Can I
Yeah,
amend
you
your
can do it.
Yeah,
motion
go ahead, make my motion.
to approve the budget at 10, it's the gross number you need or the net?
It's the gross number.
Okay,
10,471,670.
10,471,670, Lauren, and that was from Scott.
And if I could just make a comment to back that up.
We need a second. Hold on, no, we
Yeah.
got a discussion. Ellen second, okay, go ahead, Scott.
I just wanted to say, I think we presented a budget, or Mike, and we presented a budget that's basically less than our fixed costs. I mean, I don't know how you can get it any tighter than that. I don't know how we refine it, other than this insurance company's gonna come back to us and say, no, we're gonna drop your rate.
I called him today, just
did,
to have a
So
check,
I'm
just to
hoping we
see.
get a solution on the insurance.
So, I mean, I don't know how much
Sure.
tighter we can get than that. I said, I think it's pretty self-explanatory that we vote on it. I don't guess.
Any other discussion?
Winchester's insurance was like 30-something%.
Okay, all those in favor of passing the budget as presented? Or we're voting? All those in favor of passing the budget as presented? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, all those no. Frank? And abstention? Did you, what were you?
Yes.
You were a yes? Okay, I'm sorry.
So one of
So 7, yeah. No, you were a no, right, Frank?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's 7 yes and 1 no. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is a motion to adjourn. Jonathan?
Oh,
Jonathan.
You can second, Scott. I always look to Jonathan.
Fastest motion in the world.
Do you want these back?
And then, all in favor?
Those are yours.
Thank you, meeting adjourned. Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
And we will meet again next week for our regular scheduled meeting.
So, refresh me on this.
Thank you.
So these 3 policies,
No, that's one policy.
okay, one policy.
Let's turn that.
This is one
We
policy.
need to look at that for the next person. Policy.
This is the existing policy.
Yes. It's existing, it's graduation requirement.
Right? So we're gonna discuss this at the next meeting.